college student about things they would define as disgusting and gross, you'll get a lot of different answers. Spiders, rats, blood, rotting food. But one thing we can all agree on is warts are gross. Even more if you find one in your genital area, mouth, or throat. You probably won't be the most popular person at the next college cake party. Human papillomavirus, HPV, is the most common sexually transmitted disease, with the 79 million Americans currently infected, according to the Center for Disease Control 2013. Almost every sexually active man and woman in the U.S. will contract at least one type of HPV in their lifetime. Yes, this means you. Most infected people have no idea they have HPV because they have no symptoms. There is much debate about whether or not HPV vaccines are safe and effective for the prevention of the virus in females and males. Evidence-based clinical studies suggest that the most common types of HPV can be prevented through effective vaccination. Vaccination is the most effective when given at 11 or 12 years of age, according to the CDC. Females who never received early vaccinations should get vaccinated at age 13 to 26. Males who never received early vaccination should get vaccinated at ages between 22 and 26. The vaccines must be given in 3 doses over 6 months to be effective. There are different vaccinations for females and males. The 2 vaccines available for females are Cervarix and Gardasil. The vaccination used for males is Gardasil. According to the CDC 2012, the most common side effects of the vaccines are fainting immediately after receiving the shots, particularly in teens, blood clots, pain at injection site, dizziness, nausea, and headaches. Did you know that condoms and monogamous relationships do not fully protect against HPV? HPV is contracted through genital contact in vaginal and anal sex. Transmission can also occur via oral sex and genital-to-genital contact. In rare cases, a pregnant woman can pass HPV onto her newborn during delivery. The virus has 40 different strains, and multiple strains can infect the genital and oropharyngeal regions in males and females. Are you at risk for the ugly warts and possible cancers associated with HPV? You are at risk if you have ever had sexual contact in your lifetime. A person may not know for many years after having contact with a carrier. Heterosexual and homosexual partners both can contract the disease. Symptoms of HPV include genital warts, oropharyngeal warts, cervical cancer, vaginal cancer, penile cancer, anal cancer, and oropharyngeal cancer. Not everyone agrees with the ideal of giving HPV vaccines to teenagers. Opponents of HPV vaccination argue that it is important to remember the vaccination only protects against a few strains of HPV and not all 40 strains. Moreover, as of August 2012, the CDC released data confirming 27,023 adverse event reports, 119 reports of death, and 2,781 hospitalizations from adverse reactions to HPV vaccinations. Serious complications include Bell's palsy, miscarriage, paralysis, Guillain-Barré syndrome, blindness, and cardiac arrest. Who are critics of mandatory HPV vaccinations? Many parents of teenagers refusing to consent to vaccination due to safety fears and lack of mandatory requirements for school attendance. Only 35% of girls between 13 and 17 have had an HPV vaccination. Approximately 45% of parents state that they would never agree to vaccinate their children with the HPV vaccine. Rhode Island has the highest rate of vaccination at 57%, and Arkansas has the lowest rate at 15%. Parents born in the United States are highly suspicious of vaccines compared to Latinos who immigrated from poor countries where people commonly die of diseases. Stigmas attached to sexuality in teenagers are part of the problem. Negative media attention has also created strong distrust of Merck because the pharmaceutical company has been using a sneaky campaign to try to get legislators to force teenagers to get the vaccine. Obviously, pharmaceutical companies cannot make profits if they do not sell large amounts of their vaccination products. As a nurse, would I recommend the vaccine to my patients? Yes, cautiously. because the probability of contracting HPV in a lifetime is almost 100% for sexually active people. Early vaccination provides the best known prevention. The two HPV vaccinations, Cervarix and Gardasil, are considered to be safe and effective as of March 2013, if given in all three doses during the proper age range. However, I would screen my patients very carefully for any history of Guillain-Barré, Bell's palsy, pregnancy, and other risky contraindications to the vaccination. As a nurse, do I support mandatory HPV vaccination for teens? Should teens be forced to get the vaccine before being able to attend junior high? No. More research studies need to be done to shed light on Merck's marketing campaign before making the vaccines mandatory to ensure safety studies were not biased by a conflict of interest funding. In my professional opinion, clear evidence from unbiased clinical studies are the most effective way to persuade Americans that HPV vaccine is worth the risk of adverse effects.